So here I am in my library. As you can see, I've decorated it for Halloween. It's very cool. So I've got my 3 librarians that work here, and they have been hard at work categorizing all of the books. In fact, I think they've actually kind of been keeping up fairly well. See, look at how empty these books are. It's amazing. I mean, these chests are very empty, and you can see that the bookshelves are looking, not bad. There's still lots of empty space, but there's lots of filled space too. I've noticed that our reference section is a little bit empty. We may have to put something else right here. I wonder what we can put there. I don't know. I'll think of something. We've also got the spooky stories section. This is the holiday section. So that's cool. So let's just go look around. Up here we've got some books. We still got a long way to go, guys. You know what I think we should do? I'm gonna have to come up with maybe a writing prompt. So that, ooh, I like this idea. In fact, I'm gonna go downstairs right now and label a chest. All right, so we're gonna have a writing prompt, and you're gonna write books about the writing prompt. It might be a fictional writing prompt. It might be non-fiction related writing prompt. And then you'll all just write lots of cool books about that writing prompt. I think we're going to use the back shelves. So let's grab a sign. Writing prompt books go in here. Okay. And in here, writing prompt books go in there. Oh gosh, I didn't put the same number of dashes. Okay. Writing prompt books. Is that right? Five dashes? Alright. I can't well, this one is also for writing prompt books. But there's some carpet in the way. So, yeah, just, you can put them all in these shelves. This is the writing prompt area. That should be enough. So let's just go look around some more. Let's try to decide what our writing prompt should be this week. Magical weaponry. That one could use some books. General magic has quite a few already. Probably don't need any of that. All these specific magical things are, they're a little bit low, but I'm not sure if I want to start with something like that. Magical creatures is kind of cool. That one's got quite a few. Magical theory. There's quite a few books in magical theory. Let's upstairs. Maybe we just need some general knowledge, not specific to magic. Geography? Look, there's not very many geography books. It's because nobody cares about geography, let's be honest. Lots of science. Art and recreation. There's quite a bit there. What's this? Music. Ooh, nice. Good, good. Social sciences. Politics. There's a lot of books in this library. What's back here? Technology. This seems like a great time to have a writing prompt for scary stories, except we've already got a shelf full of them. It's kind of a missed opportunity. Actually, you don't know what? Maybe we should do something similar. Maybe we should have a writing prompt specifically on ghosts. Since, there's a lot of ghosts floating around these days. I'm not sure where we would put them in the library, because this is nonfiction. Nonfiction literature, or nonfiction, information on ghosts. We want to learn all we can. We want people studying them, figuring stuff out. Like, what are they? Why do they exist? You know, that kind of stuff. What can we do about them? Is there cause for concern? Let's see, where would this fit in? Doesn't really fit into arts and recreation. Religion, vaguely. Geography, no. Magic, possibly. Maybe it belongs in magic. No, no. Science? You know, it might belong in science. What's this? Mathematics? Politics? You know, it might belong in science. Unfortunately, science is already getting kind of full. Well, we can just have a separate subsection for it and put it somewhere. Maybe over here. This library, you know, it's not exactly organized. This seems like a good place. So we're going to put it under the science category. Let's say I believe 550 was math. Yes, so we'll say 560 ghosts. Alright, it's under science. NNC 560 ghosts. Okay, so this is non-fiction information on ghosts. Let's actually go change the sign down here to actually say what the writing prompt is this week. That seems like it would be nice. So we're going to come down here, writing prompt books. We're going to say this week's writing prompt, ghosts. Okay. This week's writing prompt, ghosts. Non-fiction. This is non-fiction information about ghosts. So, I think this is going to be great. We're going to slowly fill up our library with interesting information that you guys write and see if we can get lots of interesting stuff in here. I think I'm going to have to come down here at some point and read some spooky stories. That seems like a fun thing to do. What do we got in here? Anna? Darkness Dweller? Ooh. Doctor's Office. Those are always scary. Scary Story 14. That's not an incredibly original title. Oh, I believe that's a submission to the contest. That's why it's like that. There's another one. Below the Mine. Ooh. Tyler's Tale. Twisted Children. Another Night. Another Night 2. Ooh. Cool. Delicious Soup. That doesn't sound particularly scary. Boo. One Bite. Oh man, there's some good sounding stories in here. I do believe I'm going to have to read some of them. Heck, maybe I'll do that. I'll do that soon. Maybe even part of this video. Ooh, that's my book. Alright, so I've grabbed a couple books that I thought looked interesting from the Scary Story shelf. I've brought them up here away from the crowds so that I can read them in peace. So we've got one of the entries to the contest. We've got Delicious Soup because I was just so curious about that one. We've got The Stairs. We've got Eyes in the Fog. And we've got Darkness Dweller. So, let's do it. Let's start out. Here we go. A young girl was walking home at night after finishing her shift at the local coffee shop. She went to check her phone, but to her surprise, it was dead. She sighed and continued walking down the dark trail. She began to get an uneasy feeling, as if someone was staring at her. She just kept her cool and kept walking. The trail seemed to never end. Her heartbeat became louder than her breathing. This was not a feeling she had felt before. Something was different about this night. As if the darkness was following her. Her speed increased, and she just bolted to the nearest shop and entered. Ding ding! The shop bell rang, and she had a feeling of relief, as she seen people in the store. A tall man working the register asked her, "Something wrong? You seem like you've seen a ghost." "No, just a long night, that's all," she replied. She bought an energy drink and a candy bar, then left back into the darkness. "Thank you," was the last thing he said to her. She started her walk back to her apartment, but suddenly she heard a loud, morbid scream coming from behind her. She dropped her energy drink and turned around to see the shop was pitch black. As all the street lights turned one by one, "This can't be happening," she whispered. She hadn't been more scared in her whole life. She started to sprint up the road to keep up with the light, but she couldn't catch up. She froze in her tracks, unable to run, and began to cry. She looked up to see one streetlight on down the road, and felt a glimmer of relief, but that quickly disappeared. A tall figure was standing under the light. It had long claws and a beak-like face. She was so scared she couldn't move. The figure began to sprint toward her, and then darkness. Ooh, and look. End of chapter. She awakened in a hospital bed. She was in a panic and kept yelling, "Where am I?" The nurses calmed her down and explained that police found her laying in the street. The young girl calmed down and said, "The last thing I remember was this thing running towards me. Then I blacked out." "Well, you're all right now, sugar," the nurse said. The nurse laid her head down on the pillow. The girl laid her head down on the pillow, and the nurse said she'd let her get some rest. The girl fell asleep. Oh no. She was awakened by a blood-curdling scream. She jumped up and saw that the whole hospital was black. She tried to leave her bed, but if she left the bed, the nurse alarms would go and she might attract whatever it was that caused the scream. She laid down and didn't move at all. Moments of silence later, the door slowly creaked open. A low, dark breathing could be heard entering the room. She covered her mouth as to not make any noise. The thing was tall, dark, and didn't seem to have human features. It appeared bird-like. It walked around the room and didn't seem to notice the sleeping girl, but then he turned his head and stared right into her eyes. The beast and the girl both screamed, and the creature spoke. "I've tasted your soul. Welcome to the darkness." The end. Alright, that was exciting. Ooh, let's read Eyes in the Fog. Alright. It was an average day in the village of Buntry, a small farming village, and as always, Dave woke up, got dressed, and went to do his daily chores. He tended to the livestock, watered the garden, and milked the cows. His village was known for the amount of ore in the ravine nearby. That was one of the main jobs of the men in the village, to mine the ore. Well, one day, strange things started to happen in the mines. Lights would flicker on and off. Entrances would cave in, not allowing the miners to go in. Miners disappeared. The whole village was worried and scared to death. Dave thought strange things were happening in the ravine. Maybe some spirit, he thought. He kept telling his two friends, Todd and George, what he thought. All they thought was that he was completely crazy. One day, after yet another miner had gone missing, he convinced his friends to go with him to the ravine and investigate. They set out at dawn with their supplies, headed down into the ravine, to where the mines lay. Once they got there, they explored for only a little bit, as a great fog arose and they couldn't see a thing. The next thing Dave knew, he was alone. He couldn't see Todd nor George. He started walking around blindly, trying to find the ravine walls. He ended up in a cave and started to explore it. He then came into a large room in the cave, and immediately the fog was lifted. He could see all the miners and his friends, Todd and George, tied up to wooden posts in the room. They had duct tape over their mouths, but were trying to yell something at him. Their eyes looked terrified, and they shivered as if they'd seen a ghost. All of a sudden he heard a screech from behind him. He instinctively turned around. All he saw was a skeleton with glowing eyes. Dave was never seen again. The end. Wow. This is good stuff. The stairs. Oh man, this is going to be good. My house is old. It's by far the oldest house on our block. We tried to liven it up, to make it comfy, and we did a pretty good job. We put colorful rugs on the freezing concrete, lamps in every corner. Every room was nice and modern, except the basement. When I was a little kid, I would sprint up the stairs, coming up from the basement. I don't know what I was afraid of. Maybe a ghost or a monster in the dark behind me, waiting for me to turn around so it can catch me. And I don't know what it would do. But now, as a 17-year-old boy, I'm walking up the stairs from my basement. My childish fears, long repressed, are coming back. I tell myself to shut up, but that dark part in the back of my head tells me to run and to get out now. More than anything, I want to rocket up those stairs as I did as a child, but I force my feet to take even normal steps. I feel the overwhelming urge to look behind me, but I also want to win the battle of paranoia that's going on in my brain. So I slowly walk up this seemingly endless staircase, my palms sweating and my heart racing the entire way. But about 10 steps from the top, I feel an ice-cold hand close around my ankle. The end. Oh man. I don't know what happened to him. Oh look, there's a friend next to me. Delicious soup. This is the one I've been looking for. Let's save that one for last. Alright, scary story 14. There was a young boy sitting on the curb. The boy was homeless and had no name, but had only one friend, his clownfish. One day, a man walked toward him and asked the boy where he stayed out there all day. Why he stayed out there all day. The boy was silent, and for a moment... Oh gosh, I'm having a hard time with this one. The boy was silent for a moment and then turned his head slowly. The man felt chills when the boy began to talk. Well, it all happened so fast. There was a crowd of people in the market. My mother and father were shopping for supplies when they were both killed by a man with a wooden hoe. I grabbed a fishing pole and swung it at him. The hook caught his head. I went to the river and fished and caught my friend, the clownfish. I named him the name of the killer MJ. When the man heard this, he vanished like a ghost, and the fish died in the bottle. The end. Alright, what are we waiting for? Delicious soup. Are you ready? The peasant walked back from his mother's funeral. He was done crying. He was done yearning for the days when she was still alive. He walked down an alley, hoping to take a shortcut through the dark village. Nobody would dare attack him, as they would face swift retribution in the name of justice. The peasant was then suddenly struck by a pang of hunger. Ah, I should really learn how to feed myself, he thought. He strolled down towards Old Granny's Soup Shack, the best restaurant in the village. The old granny in question was one of his mother's friends. The two of them were proclaimed the best cooks in the country, and they only used the freshest ingredients. I hope it's just carrots. The peasant entered the soup shack and was instantly greeted by the delicious smell of freshly cooked soup. "Hello, sonny. Sad to hear your mother's gone. She was a good soul," said Old Granny as she looked up from her pots. "I know. I wish she were still around sometimes," the peasant replied. "Are you hungry, or did you come in here looking for some words of comfort?" inquired the old lady. "I'd like something to fill me up, please," replied the young man. "Ah, I've got just the thing for you." Old Granny turned around and poured him a steaming bowl of fragrant soup. "Here you go, today's special." "Thank you." He tried a little slurp of the soup. "It's really good." "Of course it is, son," she responded with a smile. The peasant dipped his bread in the soup, waiting for the stale bread to soften. "It's a shame your mother dying like that," the old lady started. "Don't worry, we'll find out who her killer is very soon." "I know, but who would do such a thing in this village?" "A disturbed person, that's who." With that, Old Granny sat down at the same table as the peasant. "This meat is good. What is it?" asked the man. "Guess," replied the lady with a smile. "Beef? No. Pork? No. Lamb? No. Goat? No. Keep trying." "Well, narrow it down for me. Is it poultry?" "No. Horse?" "No." "I give up. What is it, then?" asked the peasant, slightly exasperated. "Your mother." "That's not funny." "It's not a joke." "You're kidding me." "No, I'm not." The peasant suddenly felt violently sick. "You mean I was eating my mother?" "Indeed you were," replied Old Granny with a smirk. The man retched and vomited. "Guess who killed your dear old mother?" said the old lady, her voice slowly becoming more and more demonic. "Don't tell me," gasped the peasant, still in shock from his realization. "Indeed, it was me." Old Granny's voice slipped into a lower register, her creaky voice becoming grating and dissonant. "But why?" asked the young man as pallor slowly spread over his face. "Why? Why, you'll never know." She slipped out a knife and held it against his throat. Now say goodbye. A sharp, blinding pain struck the peasant, and he felt the life spill out of him, puddle on the floor in lakes of blood as his consciousness slowly faded away, leaving a dead shell of a body on the chair, his head still facing the bowl of soup that had once been his mother. Wow, I was saving the best for last, just because the title seemed so innocent, and wow, that really delivered. That was the best one. That was good. Delicious soup. Wow. Huh. I'm gonna have to queue up some spooky music or something during that. Anyway, thanks for watching or listening or watching, whatever, my scary stories. I might, read some more stories in the future. Maybe not scary ones. Maybe I'll read some other ones. Who knows? Maybe I'll get bored and read some nonfiction. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.